So this time we're going to start with you again. And the last question is, what is your understanding of local funding control formula?
When Lori and I took office, the system for school funding was bizarre. There were revenue limit districts and basic aid districts and all kinds of frankly weird funny money deferrals in which you earned X revenue but wouldn't get it until Y quarter. The system was so bad, the district joined a lawsuit alleging that the school funding system was unconstitutional. Governor Brown and the legislature, to their credit, have worked to restore a rational basis for school funding. The LCFF is the result. The goal of the LCFF is to increase school support over 7 years to bring California into at least the middle of the states in per-pupil expenditures. It is based on some assumptions about growth which seem optimistic to me, but it is a start. The LCFF is really just a turning of the corner. It's the beginning of an effort to write a funding system which has gone seriously off the rails. This will slowly get us back to where we once were. It doesn't provide riches, and there are still tough choices to be made. We are at what I hope is the end of a nearly 40-year war on funding for education at all levels. After 40 years of trimming, we need to reverse course. The LCFF is the governor's effort to do exactly that. The LCFF also truly does allow districts more discretion in how they spend their money. For the most part, the categorical funds have been swept away and replaced with a process, the Local Control Accountability Plan, which involves local communities in establishing their own priorities. I entirely support this. The push is for local folks to make local choices reflecting local needs.
Milton, you're up.
You're going to pick on me again.
They made me do it.
The key word is local control funding. When they say that, we mean the people here in Del Norte County need to decide how the money is spent. I have a concern anytime anybody out of the county gives money to the county, because after a time they're going to tell you how to spend it. It's only a minute, and you know that pretty soon the state will tell you how to spend it, and the feds will tell you how to spend it. They'll tell you what books to buy, what pencils to buy, what programs to buy. It is essential that local control remain local with the people here in the county. Thank you.
Okay. So local control funding is just that. It's a formula that allows us to spend our money with what you guys want. I'm not saying this right, but so 4 years ago when I ran, I used to think the same thing. I mean, we were hardly getting any funding up here, but Orange County was getting a ton. So it's kind of bringing that back into balance, which is nice. Our revenues are definitely going to increase. But the best part of it is, part of the plan is we have to go to the community. We have to have focus groups, we have to have meetings, we have to say to you guys, what do you want? Where do you want the money spent? So we have a chance in Del Norte County to decide how the money is going to be spent. And we're not being dictated, like Don was saying, of all the things that the state was telling us to do. A few things that has happened, because we are just in our first year of the LCFF budget, and what will happen is we did all the focus groups last year. We went to the community to see what they wanted. That's how we developed it, and then we will report again in the springtime. But from this year's LCFF has brought the following additions to our schools. An additional teacher at Smith River School, a 1.25 additional music teacher at the elementary level, additional career tech educational courses, a half-time English language development teacher at Crescent Elk, 3.5 teaching assistants to assist the students in learning, and a positive behavior intervention and support funding for all the K-8 sites, and additional parent involvement funds. So we are getting more money, and we are putting it to good use, and we're doing it with what we have heard from our community and what you guys have wanted.
So LCFF and LCAP, Local Control Accountability Plan, those are two of the programs that got to roll out because people realize that local control is really great. So it's really great we finally have local control of what we want to spend our money on. The local accountability plan is how then the school district is going to be checked on making sure that they're following the funding formula, and then there's all this other stuff that goes with it. But in the accountability plan, it says that you have to make sure that you are letting your community know what's going on with the budget, which means inviting them to see it, see if you're following the formula they wanted in their first place, and make sure that it's being to what the community said. That's where the tricky part is, because meetings right now for a school board are at 4:30. How many people can actually go to a school board meeting at 4:30? Right? We need to move that. We need to make sure that, also in the LCAP it says that you need to make sure that this is available for people who don't speak English, particularly if you have more than 50 students where English is a second language. You need to make sure that those parents get to be involved as well. The local accountability plan I've only been able to find through a myriad of different links. I was able to finally track down through the website.
The last 4 years for me have been a learning experience, and I continue to learn because every week there's something new. I love what I do, I really do. I have 4 children in this district, and when I came into the district after coming 5 years out of private schools, I saw issues and problems, and I'm not a person to bitch and complain. So, you know, when I was asked by teachers to run for school board, at first I was like, I can't do that. But the more I thought about it, yes, I can. I'm a very involved parent. I volunteer all the time. I'm involved with all the kids. I'm in the schools. I visit schools weekly. I'm in different schools. Every week I go out and visit different schools. You know, it's not perfect, our district. What I'm really proud of and happy of is the changes that we have made in the last 3 or 4 years. And I really hope that, you know, I can be part of that further. Somebody said to me, oh, it's not a big commitment, and it is a big commitment. And I hope, you know, I wish all the candidates here tonight, you know, good luck. But I also hope that you understand the commitment it's going to take to be on the school board, to do what's right for these kids. It takes a lot of time, you know, and you have to put the time in to make the difference. And I'm running for school board, District 2, and I hope for your vote in November.
I love research. As my husband can attest, it took us 2 years to plan our wedding because I wanted to make sure everything was perfect, and even then I still think there could be adjustments made. It took me forever to write an essay paper because there were information overload and my roommates were going, what is going on? You just need to make a decision right now. I want to make sure that every point of view is covered. I want to make sure I have every bit of piece of information that's going around. I think that we need to bring accountability back to the board. School board members represent, there's one from each district because it's supposed to represent that district. We are your representative, and that's what a school board member is supposed to do. We need to bring balance to the board. That means inviting people that we might not agree with, hearing their point of view, respecting them for it, and maybe find a little middle ground that we can both agree on. And we need to run on communication. We need to make sure that parents have every available means and resource to get a hold of the school board, to get a hold of what's going on in their schools, to know what's happening in my high school English class. Let me see what's going on in my kindergarten class. We want to make sure parents have every available means to do it. We want to make sure that teachers know what's going on, that it's not just a little bulletin that came through an email that said there's a security information, but I'm as a teacher teaching and I can't read my email because I'm supposed to be teaching. We need to make sure classified staff know what's going on. When there is a union discussion meeting about some bargaining thing, they need to know in advance and not just a couple hours before when they need to go show up to the school board, because they're working people too. So we need to make sure accountability is back on the board, balance is back on the board, and communication is really essential. I hope to get your vote in November. Angela Greeno for School Board District 2.
Tea Party for having this forum meeting that gave me and all of you an opportunity to hear from all of the candidates. And I truly appreciate that. I also would like to thank everybody for coming, and I would like to ask you all to vote for me for District 1. Don Moncrief.
You would free up my Thursdays.
Again, thank you. Thank you.
I'd also like to thank the Tea Party for this forum. I've appreciated the opportunity. When most of us were students, the world was a very different place. Smaller, more manageable. Today there is more computing power in this iPhone than there was on the lunar module that landed on the moon in 1969. And much more than I had available to me when I was in school. Our kids inhabit this world in a way that most of us simply do not. And yet our job is to teach them and guide them and help them become informed and responsible citizens, not to mention participants in a global economy. This is the challenge. Today there's a new model for teaching, more collaborative, more informed by data, more interactive. We have flipped classrooms in which the lesson is on the internet at home and homework is collaborative in class. It's exciting to see Del Norte teachers embrace data teams and professional learning communities and the Del Norte engaged learning model, which we haven't had a chance to discuss here. The collaborative model of continuous learning and teaching is the future. Together we have made great strides in moving education in Del Norte forward despite the perilous fiscal times we have just come through. It has been tough and there have been some hard choices. What I have learned is that people value being listened to and being heard. When a board member is able to listen and to really hear, people feel heard and there is an acceptance of the choices that have to be made. I believe I have demonstrated my ability and willingness to listen, to hear, and to think carefully and analytically about our choices and our priorities. There will be more tough choices ahead as we prioritize LCFF funding. We are often, maybe always, choosing between worthy competing priorities. My pledge is that if re-elected, I will continue to listen carefully and respectfully to all points of view and to choose what will be best for our young people. I appreciate your consideration and your vote. Don MacArthur, District 1.
I'd like to thank you all for attending, and let's give all the candidates a big round of applause.